Almost. Are you guys going to do the slides?
She's going to work on the slides and start the video. Oh, well, no, you're right.
I have one right here. Give it one more minute and I'll get started. Right.
Usually don't say anything.
They have.
Right. Am I still waiting? All right, so I'll get started. All right, welcome everybody. As you can see at the top of the screen here, it's all happening in Grande. I thought I'd spare you guys having to listen to some banjo music again. Although I do have it here with me if it turns out you guys want to listen to it. Stacy said that it was no bueno this time around. So welcome. This is the different topics that when I say welcome, both to the people in the room and the ones that are joining us online or are reviewing this later. This is our agenda of what we're intending to get accomplished here today. Bottom line is aside from the recognition, which I would say is the most important part of what we're going to do here today, my hope is also to give you a little bit more of a pulse of what's in my head, what direction that I'm trying to steer things. If you get a chance to pay attention to the different conversations that I'm having with the council and the community, my desire is to create consistency in the information to make sure that everybody's operating with the same knowledge and understanding of what's driving our decisions and what we're doing. So if we get the recognition and that accomplished today, I think it's a pretty good day. And of course, the opportunity for you guys to ask me some questions, or any of the senior staff in the room questions here today. That's kind of the purpose behind it all. With that being said, we'll transition into some of the recognition. Gary, if you wouldn't mind coming up for a second. And then Danny Knight, would you come up for a minute? Sure. Here's mine.
Daddy!
What's your full name? I'll have your full first name.
Let's take a picture.
My full first name? No, hers. So, Danny Knight, Service Awards.
Ooh, Danny!
What was that chuckle?
She's enjoying this.
Danny is service oriented on every day, but what I'd like to share with you is the specific notes that were shared in this nomination form. We would like to recognize Danny Knight, our code enforcement officer, for the exceptional
dedication and positivity she brings to our team each day. Danny manages a demanding workload with an ever-increasing number of calls for service, yet she never allows the pressure to slow her down. She is always quick to volunteer and lend a helping hand wherever she's needed, whether collecting evidence, placing road closure signs, assisting with our Shop with a Cop program, participating in the police hiring process, delivering vehicles for service, or handling countless other tasks. Danny approaches every responsibility with professionalism and a great attitude. Danny is truly grateful to be part of the city of Grande, and she proudly promotes our agency in all she does. As we celebrate women in the workforce, we especially appreciate her dedication, her work ethic, and the positive example she sets for others. Thank you, Danny, for the outstanding service you provide to our community and our organization. Your contributions make a meaningful difference every day.
Yeah.
The one thing that we didn't note was Danny's favorite thing to do is to deal with RVs.
Super favorite.
Is Tony in the room?
She's not.
Okay, you want to speak to it? Tony Grove has been recognized for execution and innovation. Tony is a major asset to the dispatching center. She's knowledgeable and helpful to her team. Tony is reliable and consistently goes above and beyond her required duties. She is a supervisor and a training officer in the center, two of her many titles and responsibilities. Her support of her team and sacrifices she has made for the dispatch team need to be acknowledged and appreciated. There's not one specific event that describes her devotion to her work as a dispatcher, leader, and teacher. She comes in every day ready to work, helping the community and her fellow dispatchers. In addition to the dispatching, she's a volunteer firefighter, deputy medical examiner, and an amazing mother. She does it all with a smile and kindness. She falls into each category: service, execution and innovation, teamwork, and dependability. If there's a score, she would be a 10 out of 10. Couldn't agree more. And one more. It's the same category, execution and innovation, Tony Grove. I would like to nominate Tony Grove from the Communications Division due to her incredible teamwork and dependability. Tony is someone who is always willing to step in wherever needed, and anyone in dispatch can always count on her. Dispatch had been short-shifted not long ago, and Tony was very willing to take overtime and help fill in where she was needed. Tony has also dedicated a lot of time and effort into training new dispatchers. Even when Tony is off duty, if immediate help is needed, she's always willing to answer her phone to assist in any way. Tony has recently been taking over a lot more of the admin responsibilities while still being a supervisor, a dispatcher, and a CTO, communications training officer. Tony has juggled these new responsibilities flawlessly while still maintaining all of her other responsibilities. Tony's a wonderful coworker and supervisor. She's very dependable and has helped out in dispatch immensely. Congrats, Tony, if you watch later. Yeah, that'd be great. Stu, would you come up? So rather than, my style is a little bit different. Rather than reading what's up here, I'll let you guys do that. What I can say is, from my perspective and the leadership team in working with Stu, I guess the best example of it would be last night we had the community town hall and Stu showed up, and when he was walking in right as we started and we turned on the It's All Happening in the Grande song, and Stu started doing a jig for us while we were standing in there.
Well, not for you, not for the audience either, just for myself.
I just heard that.
Do it again, Stu, do it again, show us.
Here's the thing, you gotta watch it on YouTube, it's on the screen, right front and center, it's fine.
I think it was a stand-in, if you can't reproduce it.
No, go view it, it's amazing.
No, so in all joking aside, we've got several different initiatives that are being obviously initiated within the city. And Stu is the first one to step up to the plate and say, hey, how can I help and contribute in regards to helping do all of this different work that we're doing? And that's on top of everything else that you're doing. So at least from my perspective, what I can say is it doesn't go unnoticed, and I greatly appreciate the fact that you're that supportive and appreciative, so thank you. Let's see, it doesn't look like we have anybody within finance. I think the remainder of our personnel that are listed here are all within finance, except for one, I think. I don't want to just skate over them. I think last time we made a quick mention in regards to the finance department. What I can say is they've been going through, aside from the normal rhythm of all the things that are going on an annual basis between audit and then going into budget season, it's just complicated. And then you throw into the mix that we're also in collective bargaining season, which is an added stressor. And then you do that with half staff compared to what you're normally at. And so what I can say is from my perspective, granted I wasn't here in years past, but for me it seems like they're doing it without missing a beat. And so that starts with Heather, and that goes through everybody else that's in the team. And so this speaks in general about the entire finance department. So I guess that's what I'm trying to convey. So thank you to the finance department. And they've all Carrie, would you come up?
Do it.
Kind of in the same breath, let me give you same or similar breath to what we were speaking in regards to Stu. What I can say is and I said this last night, I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but I said this last night at the community town hall. Our library is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Your team thinks that you're amazing, and not let alone how I see it. And so the nominations for this didn't necessarily come from your peers or for even, I hate to say it, for me, but it came from your team, and they think volumes of you. And so on behalf of your team and on behalf of the city, thank you. We appreciate you, and here's history. We have Tammy too, but she wasn't able to make this bottom line. As you haven't met her yet, she's our new Human Resource Director. Stu nominated her. She's an amazing human resource book of knowledge, and she's doing the best that she can to get out and get to know as many people in the organization as she can, and making sure that people know that she's actually available as a resource to help in every facet that might even minimally roll over into the human resource area of expertise. And I feel pretty confident in saying that she's not limiting herself to there. If she can be helpful, she's going to help. So you just better be willing to ask her to get to know her. So a little bit of a round of applause for Tammy, even though she wasn't able to make it here. Stu, do you want to add anything to that?
I just want to add one thing, which is that we in Parks and Rec have a lot of part-time staff, and they're 15 to 78, and it's really random. So what's amazing about that with HR, it's easy to be like, here's the CBA for the whatever association, here's how this works, here's how we do it. Part-time staff aren't like that, right? You have to treat them way differently, and so she's been able to sort of create easier ways for us to manage them, manage the recruitment, retention of them, and come up with ways to streamline our process. So that's really the essence of it. Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you. Okay, so that completes the recognition portion of us being here today. We're going to go into a little bit of the city updates and information. I'd like to give all the senior leaders in the room the opportunity to speak. Gary, do you have anything you'd like to share with the group?
I'll just share that within the last couple of days, we've given final offers of employment to 3 different people, a reception position and 2 police officers. So that's kind of monumental for us. So we're making traction. Good news. We're gonna have more enforcement going on soon, so mind your P's and Q's.
Sitting near you.
Carrie, you got anything?
Tiny art shows going on right now. We got any artists in here? You think you're an artist? You can pick up a little tiny canvas.
You only need
Art to your
this
heart's
much
content.
art.
Pretty much. And we put them on little easels and display them in the library. So if you're feeling artsy,
Sounds like a group craft. Team building.
Timothy, you got anything you want to share?
Not a lot right now, we're kind of going out for budgeting call for projects. We do have kind of a few projects that are kind of talking about what they want to do in this spring. I think there's some good things on the horizon. We do have a new Main Street manager, started yesterday as a matter of fact. So we're excited to welcome her, Allison Harvey, to the community, and excited about some of the skills that she brings to that team and helping really strengthen that partnership with Main Street. Other than that, I think we're just really anticipating that this coming year is really going to be kind of a planning year for us, starting to recognize the need to kind of revisit some of our economic development planning that's now, 15 years old, and time to start thinking about where we move forward from here.
Wonderful. Thank you. Kyle, you got anything?
Snow removal. We're ready.
What's
So we're just
Not
gonna,
like surplus.
yeah.
That briefs really well when it's looking like this outside.
Yeah. But the weather hasn't helped us get a couple of odd jobs done, so one of my favorite is if you go up the 2nd Street viaduct, there's no more bushes encroaching on the sidewalks.
Thanks.
Amazing how many people in the community reached out and said they thank you for removing those, because little thing, huge impact. So other than that, all into planning for next year's projects and getting our budgeting done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Stu?
Yeah, so,
Sorry.
sorry.
I didn't see that.
No.
He made an angry face when I called you before him.
Well, Gary went first, so that screwed everything up. Just because Gary's the birthday boy. It's fine.
Oh,
Gary's birthday! That's all I have. I think he's 39 today. 38!
Feel good.
Yep, 38. He's got his running socks on, that's what I heard. So, two things, police department had a lead on the vandalism that we have over at Pioneer and Parks, and today, or yesterday, was today, last chance to vote for your favorite splash pad. That means next Tuesday, the group will get together after we read the results. I think we have 500 votes-ish so far, so pretty good stuff.
Thank you. Merle?
We're just plugging away. We ran about 3,300 calls, a little bit over 3,300 calls last year. Guys are pretty busy. We're getting ready to put specs together for a new rescue. So hopefully we'll get that. I think we have a meeting tomorrow to start that process. Continuing to put paramedics through paramedic school. I think we got one riding today. And so we're just moving right along, staying busy.
Wonderful. I got some feedback from the community here today that was watching the city council meeting, and they expressed appreciation for the fact that you stepped up to the plate and gave the information and the stats that you did in regard to your organization, so good on you. Stacy?
The only thing I have is I'm still in election mode, so if you guys know anybody that would like to run for election, please send them my way. It's what action up there, so it's very quiet, so anyway, that's all I have.
Thank you. All right. Now, I guess, Carrie, would you like that?
All right. Hi, I'm Carrie. I'm the chair for the safety committee, and we had a couple updates. As for now, Oregon OSHA, there's not much new for this year. They did produce a new guide for Oregon workers. It details stuff that safety committees do, why PPE is important, So if you're interested, you can go to the website or email me if you want a digital copy, because it's roughly 45 pages, and it's got a lot of really good information. And, thought there'd be a little bit more winter weather when I put this together, but safety nonetheless. If you're traveling this winter, it's important to keep an emergency kit in your vehicle. And there's just some things up there to think about, especially bring extra water and a blanket and change your clothes. Because you never know when you're up on I-84 and a semi-driver decides to turn his truck. So, yeah. Fun safety tip. And of course, if you have any safety concerns within your department, reach out to one of your safety committee members. Hopefully you recognize one of those names up there. If not, you can go to HR as well, and Tammy will bring that forth to the safety committee. We're always looking for ways for a little bit more outreach, so if you have ideas on that too, we're looking for that stuff. And look out for us. We'll be doing inspections as well this month. And any safety issues, bring it up to us, and we'll do the best we can to help you out.
Thank you. Okay, now you guys get the displeasure of listening to me talk for a little while. So as we're entering into this budget season, no surprise, I'm doing things a little bit differently than the way things have been done in the past. One of the things that we've realized or recognized when I first took the position and I met with the city council, the council gave me one priority that I was supposed to achieve. Obviously they have more things they want me to make sure are going well, but the one thing they said that was most important and they emphasized was to make sure that I balanced the budget. And so today I'm going to talk a little bit about that and some of how I can say that in response to them stating that to me, I asked them to give us the opportunity to show them a path to balanced budget versus necessarily seeing a balanced budget immediately. This is a long way of writing out to say what I'm about to say right now, which is when it comes down to it, because of the way Oregon requires us to, by law, to forecast for both revenue and expenses, it puts us in a situation where in order to balance the budget, we either have, if we actually balance it right now, we actually have to cut services in some way or another, whether that's some of the resources that we're providing to the services or potentially even cutting positions. That would be what would be required if we were to balance the budget right now. Historically, the organization has been able to balance the budget because of over time, we've been able to put a lot of money into what I'll refer to as savings. And in that savings, we've been able to say, in lieu of giving an immediately balanced budget, that will make it so that we can go into these savings to cover costs if we actually realize the full expenses associated with that. This is the problem statement that outlines and basically explains that. I'm going to talk a little bit further as we go forward. The desired end state, after we get done doing what I'm about to outline to you, is for us to be able to make it so that we don't only keep the services that we're currently providing, but set the conditions to be able to actually improve those services, to give you more resources, to be able to do the things that the community needs, and really what I would say from what I've assessed from the people that I'm talking to on your own wanting to be able to provide better and higher quality service. But we've only got so many hours in the day and so many dollars to put towards the things that we want to do in order to make those services be what we need them to be. And what we've learned is that the cost of doing business is outpacing what we're forecasting in regards to revenue. So there's a very real possibility in the future that we could be at a place in time where even doing business the way we've been doing it will no longer be sustainable for us either. Even though we have a healthy savings, one way or another, that would run out if we don't change the way that we're doing business. So the desired end state is for us to be able to change the conditions, do what I'm referring to as a fiscal transformation, to put in place other and additional revenue sources generating that will make it so that we can sustain what we have. Simultaneously, and I'll get into that next, when we're looking at our budget, what we're going to ultimately do is, in line with building out our budget this year, we're going to do what we can to build what I refer up here to as a PACE-E plan. That stands for primary, alternate, contingency, emergency, and extra emergent. The intent is for us to be able to, and what I mean by primary, alternate, and contingency is that we're going to build this plan that makes it so we can utilize the resources we have right now to implement a solution to the various different challenges that we have that will give us time to be able to bring the results and show the evidence that we need to bring the results that we need to make sure that we can keep what we have, maybe even grow it, preferably be able to grow it, and then in the best case scenario, making it sustainable, not just a temporary shot, but actually sustainable over time. And I believe we have the ability. One of the things that I've used as an example, arguably maybe Timothy's expense, has been back in 1999, they built a urban renewal agency plan of action, or a strategic plan, in order to be able to get after all things urban renewal. That plan has been in effect since that day. It was very aspirational, very visionary, and absolutely had great intent in what it wanted to get accomplished. Simultaneously, fast forward a few years later, they build an economic development plan. Again, very visionary, very aspirational, and very well intentioned to be able to bring us that fiscal revenue that we're looking for within the town. All of that is intended to be able to make it so we don't have to raise taxes for people in order to do the business that we're doing. What I can say is that it's amazing to me, if you actually look at what's been accomplished in both urban renewal and in economic development, it's amazing to me just how successful those programs have been, despite the fact that I would argue that they're actually under-resourced in order to do the job that is listed in those plans. So in my mind, if we were to resource it the way that I believe that it should be resourced, then I think we would actually see better revenue and better revenue generating if we were to do it. Not to mention that we're at a point in time where we need to update at least the economic development plan, and then we're going through the process of also including in our strategic plan what sunsetting urban renewal is going to look like. Anyway, within that plan is going to be a primary, alternate, and contingent way of us doing business intended. There might be some minor limited duration levies that we seek in order to be able to get after streets and roads and do the same work that happened last year. If you guys aren't aware from that perspective, and I'm sure that most of you are, but last year they were able to do what they did as a banner year because they had an infusion of money that we normally wouldn't have. Well, that money is going to go away here in the not too distant future, and they're not going to have it anymore. And so then we're going to go right back to the same state that we were in before that, if we don't continue to have infusion into that option to continue to do the work that was done. So the intent is through the primary, alternate, and contingency, aside from maybe a potential gas tax, is to try and solve the problems that we have fiscally with, and then of course all of that is city council approved as well. But the intent is to solve the problem and see the trend towards that revenue generating over the course of about a 3.5 to 4 year period. Not necessarily a full solve, but at least see that it's trending in the direction that's going to show that solution that we're looking for. The emergency and extra emergency version of those, and I'm sorry, and there's triggers within each of those stages that will make it so that we know that we have to transition from primary to alternate, and then we're going to keep you informed. Hey, we went from primary to alternate. So primary didn't work, we're going to alternate. After the alternate doesn't work, the goal is to solve it at primary. If not primary, then alternate. If not alternate, then contingency. But what I can say is if we don't get to solve it at any of those levels, then we're gonna go to that emergency or extra emergency level. And that's where we have to go to the community and say, hey, we can't solve the problem within our own capability right now, short of cutting services. So instead, we'd like to come back to you and say, we want to solve the problem through some form of solution, one of those being the first E being emergency, probably some form of levy that we would institute, whether it's limited duration or permanent, likely permanent in order to do what we would need to do. Or the extra emergent would be some form of establishing a special district. And if you don't know what a special district is, that's just another form of taxing, but it would be like us taking public safety and turning it into a tax district of its own, where then they would, the public safety on its own would end up having money coming in through that additional taxing district that would be just solely for public safety and the use in that realm. And that would then take pressure off of what's on the general fund, which would then solve the other problem that we're trying to solve. But one way or another, the desired intent here is to make sure that we're able to provide the same or better quality service. And I want to lean towards better quality service, not to suggest that what everybody's providing isn't good or great. It's just we're doing the best we can and probably better than could be expected with where you're at now, but we want to give you the resources to be able to take that to the next level across all of our different services that we're providing. So that's the really short version of that slide. Anybody have any questions on that? All right, so one of the things that we're doing in order to be able to affect, and this slide kind of goes with the next one as well. I'll give you a quick look at it. This one here, since I'm going to talk about both of them. Ultimately, one of the things that I realize from our position is that in order for us to be able to do what needs to be done, we have to be united. And what I mean by united is the community can't have a different idea of what right looks like than we do as employees of the city. And the council can't have different ideas of what right looks like than the city. And simultaneously, all of us need to be on the same page, moving towards the same goals, doing the same thing. And what we don't want to do is find ourselves at a place in time where the first time that the community is realizing that these issues are going on, that is when we're coming back and we're asking for some sort of potential tax increase. And so the goal here is to create tools for us to be able to utilize to improve communication. One of the things that I've assessed over my career, and definitely since I've come here to Grande, is that we have incredibly complex topics that are not easy to talk about. And some of the things that I've assessed when I'm talking to some of the community members is that they feel like we're hiding things from them, or they feel like we're not being as transparent as we could. And we can sit there and say all day long, we'll go to our website, the information is posted there, all you have to do is just read it. And there's truth in that. But what I can say is go to our finance department links and look at all the information that's in there and then read through it. And I can tell you that everything we tell you, you can glean from reading through that information, but there's so much information to read through that it just becomes at least for me it does, it becomes overwhelming. And that's why I'm lucky to have an expert like Heather to be able to make sure that I'm understanding it the way that it needs to be understood. But the average community member doesn't have a Heather to break that down for them. And so as much as we can say we want the community to just simply start reading it and learning it for themselves, instead of doing that, the response quite often is, this is so complicated, it's so overwhelming, I believe that they're just trying to hide something from me, and therefore you're not trustworthy and you're not transparent. That's not true, but the moment they feel that way, it's incredibly hard to change that perspective. So that's what this tool is that we're working on and building out. It's a tool that when we're done building it out, it's going to take a lot of time to get it to where we need it and want it. But I'm sharing this information and the movement towards it with the community. If you saw the community town hall last night, same exact slide was up and we talked about it. What I can say is the intent is to take complex topics, make it so we can talk about it simplistically through this dashboard at the 50,000 foot view. Also have the ability to take it down to the wave top view, and then go slightly below the surface of the water. And then if necessary, at some point in time in the future, also the ability to go a little more granular, or go a lot granular into the topic using these dashboards. The vast majority of people are going to want to stay around the 50,000 foot in the wave top view. But what I can tell you is the purpose of this is to make it so that we have a tool that we can communicate consistently with the city council, with the community, and with all of you guys as employees, so that you know real time what our reality looks like, and you can know it and understand it to the level that you want to know and understand it. And it's simplistic, it's transparent. At least that's the way we're building it to be. At the end of the day, we don't get to decide what self-decisions people make in regards to it. But what I know is the appetite for something like this within the community is definitely there. The feedback that I'm getting so far to suggest that they're eager for this to come to fruition is very positive. And most everybody is suggesting to me that, at least the ones that are willing to give me feedback, is that they're happy that this is the direction that the city is going, because they feel like it's giving them an opportunity to not only know what's going on, but also to feel like they're being heard. Which kind of goes to the next slide that I'm talking about. I said that I'm talking across all of these different venues. One of the things that I'm also working on, you're going to see this starting to come out, at least I'm suspecting that you will. One of the things that I realized is that when we first did the first community town hall that we did, most of the feedback that I got leading up to that was, you're going to be lucky if there were 6 people that showed up to the town hall. When we did the town hall, we ended up with almost 60 people in the room. When we did the community town hall last night, we ended up with 76 between, I should say, almost 60 between online and in the room. And when we did the community town hall last night, we had 76 in the room and between in the room and online. And so it's a good increase, but what I also know is that's nowhere near 13,000 people, right? So the intent is to, instead of making everybody come to where we are in order to be able to get informed, we're going to try and create multiple streams of communication. That communication isn't going to be limited to the community. It's going to be meant for you, it's going to be meant for the council, and it's going to be meant for the community. But we're going to use social media to help us get after that. And so depending on what platform you're using, in the not too distant future, you're going to start seeing messaging coming out from me. It's not going to, or even maybe some of the leaders in the organization will end up being a part of it as well. But the intent is going to be to not necessarily that we have hour-long messages going out over social media, but just enough information going out to get people interested, generating trust, and then giving them the opportunity to be able to go to these other sources, like the dashboard once it's completed, to be able to access it. One of the priorities that I'm making is I want to ensure that I'm going to where the community needs me to go in order to make sure that they're fully aware. Simultaneously, I want to go where our workforce needs me to go in order to make sure that we're aware. One of the changes that I'm planning on making, though, well, I'll be honest with you, my bandwidth is getting very full between all the different things that we're trying to get accomplished and get done. That makes me a little bit worried about how accessible I'm going to be. The last thing I want is for the workforce to think that the community is more important than you, or that you're more important. I don't want the community to think that you're more important than them. What I really want is to make sure that both know with confidence that they're equally valued and they're both needed in order to be whoever or whatever we're going to be going forward. So the desire or intent from my perspective is to, in the next fiscal year, is going to be to establish a deputy city manager position that will be just hired from within, and whatever that position is, all the people of the organization will have the opportunity to compete for it. But what I'm going to want from that position predominantly, aside from the duties that they'd probably be bringing with them, is also going to be helping me to make sure that we're being very inward focused as well, so that I don't lose the pulse. I don't want the fact that I'm going to be spread thin to cause you guys to pay the price for my inability to be accessible if I end up being so busy that it appears that way. And so for me, that's going to be a requirement of that additional position that we're planning to establish. I'll also say that tentatively, depending on how things shake out with the budget season, we're intending in that first year of that strategic plan to also include the establishment of a limited term duration grant writer / manager position within the organization. And all of that is intended to help us get additional monies rolling in. But one of the things that I learned coming into the organization is not for lack of effort that they've tried to get grants in the past. It's that it's one thing to get a grant, it's a whole other thing to manage it once you get it. And that management of it, there are very specific things that you have to do, and you run risk of getting into trouble if you don't do those things. And so, aside from the fact that everybody's crazy busy anyway, let alone trying to get the grant, we just simply need somebody that's going to help manage that if we do it. So we're going to try to take that lift and expectation off of the different senior leaders in the organization to go out after and get, but also take the lift off of them to manage it once they get it. And the intent is for that to be, it's not going to be a solve, but it's meant to provide some limited relief to the general fund in order to help us solve problems. And we've already identified grants that we can start getting after, especially I think in police, that will help us. Another form of communication that we're going to have, and this is going to, from a community perspective, if this works, they're going to love this. I'm not going to try and butter it up and make it sound nice to you guys when in reality it will have a little bit of impact. One of the things we're working on right now is what we're intending for probably a middle to late April launch is a Connect LeGrand app that the community is going to be able to download. And through that app, we haven't fully established what all we're going to be able to do with it. I expect more than anybody, Public Works is going to be the organization that might feel like this is creating more work for us. Bottom line is it's an additional way of two-way communication that we can develop, not to mention that a lot of the things that people can do online already, they'll be able to do through the app as well. And so the enhancer is the two-way communication of that it enables. And so it might create more signal demand, it might create additional work to respond to what's coming in. But again, what I'd ask everybody to know is this is about relationship building and trust building with the community. It's not about, I have a desire to create more work. It's more about making sure that the community knows that they're being listened to and that we're action-oriented and trustworthy in regard to that. And when I say action-oriented, I'm not saying that we do what they want us to do. What I'm saying is it's an opportunity for us to manage expectations. A no answer is an okay answer. We just got to make sure that we're giving them the reason why to that. And that's where I'll help with that as well. But that's what's in the works right now, and we're hoping to bring to fruition. All right. Looks like we actually got close to the point where I get to stop talking, or you guys get to stop listening to me. Our next planned, let me think, I think we have it in here. Yeah, next planned all hands is going to be the 16th of April, tentatively. Carrie, with your permission, we'd like to be able to still use this location. And then Hopefully, everything that I've shared with you here today, we're gonna be able to give you where we're at in regards to that. We should be much further along in regards to the budget season, much further along in regards to negotiations, much further along in regards to those dashboards that we're developing, the strategic plan that we're developing, as well as the app. And so my desire is to keep you all as informed as I can and as frequently as you want in regards to any one or all of these subjects. I'm planning it as a quarterly, but if you guys have, if I get a demand signal that suggests to me that you want something different or more, then of course I'll be willing to try and meet you where you are and what you need. With that being said, I think I should have put a questions slide in there, but I didn't. I'll leave it right there. What, if anything, does anybody have any questions on? And I'm telling you, no questions are off limits. So you can ask hard questions, and I may squirm a little, but I'll give you hard answers, or I'll give you the truth. I mean, come on, don't make it easy on me. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you explain how that app is going to work? As like if inquiries come in, who's responsible for following up on this?
So when we get to, we're still in the early stages. We just not long ago signed to be able to start moving forward. We're still figuring out the business rules with it. What I can say is within your organization, we'll work with your lead, and I'm going to assume your leads are going to work with your team to figure out what they want the business rules to be in regards to their management of anything that might be in your lane. But at this particular time, I don't necessarily have a hard and fast statement of rules. What I will say is I would ask everybody to keep in mind that the intent of this is for us to build relationship and to build trust and to build transparency. So whatever the business rules are of the section that you work in might end up coming out to be, I would ask you to keep that spirit in mind as you guys develop that answer. Does that kind of answer the question? You had a question? Oh, no, not a raised hand? All right, well, unless you guys want me to play out It's All Happening in Grande again. Oh, go ahead.
Do you have any key takeaways from the town hall last night?
At the risk of sounding a little arrogant and prideful, I would say overwhelmingly after it was over, the community came up to me and said to me how thankful they were that they were having this kind of interaction and communication. And several of them specifically said, it wasn't so much for what they did in that particular forum, but in other forums where they've expressed that they're glad that they feel like they're being heard. And they even say, we're not concerned, we're not bothered by the not getting the solution that we want. We're just glad that we have a place that we can go and you're willing to come to us to be able to just simply talk about that, whatever their topics are. So I would say that was a big takeaway. Everything that I shared with you guys here today is exactly the same content that we went over yesterday. And so there's no, what my intention and desire is to make sure that I'm consistent across the board, that everybody's getting the exact same information, they know where I'm at. Yeah, every once in a while, and sometimes there's topics that I'm hopeful that we're not going to talk about. But what I can say is, if it's brought up, I'm not going to avoid the topic. I'm going to give as much information as I can. The only time I won't put information out is if the question that's asked has to do with somebody's dirty laundry. Like I'm not going to put any employees' personal business out there. I'm going to say that's not something I can talk about. Outside of that, for the most part, if the question's asked, if I can't answer it, I'll say why I can't, but it won't be because I'm hoping people will be able to walk away with the knowledge that I'm not trying to be secretive, I'm just simply trying to be respectful of something that I can't explain to them. But it's never going to be to hide anything. So I feel like that is the big takeaway that came from last night, is I feel like the community itself is starting to feel like at least the population that's showing up is indicating that they're starting to feel that way, and I'm excited for that, because I really I want to believe that we're going to be able to solve this fiscal transformation through that primary, alternate, and contingency approach, but I'm a little nervous that I might be a little too aspirational in regards to that. And so I feel like there's a possibility we're gonna end up at that emergency or extra emergent situation. And I don't want to arrive there and do all that work for all of you, only for the community to then again say no. My desire for going through that PACE plan, PACE-E plan, is yes, 100% equal value, wanting to make sure that the community is served, but I also want to make sure that you guys have the pay and benefits that you guys deserve as well. But it's just with our current general fund pressures, it's hard to do what we want to do. And it risks, especially for you guys as employees, it risks you feeling like we don't care. When in all reality, I think we all want to do the best that we can. It's just we just have limited resources, and I want to. If we get more resources, we can do more. Not that I'm promising 50% pay increases. Any other questions? Thank you for that, Michael. Yeah, you guys are realizing if I ask a question, it's going to take them 30 minutes to answer. All right. Well, I guess unless you guys have any more thoughts, questions, or anything you'd like to say, I appreciate you, and we'll see you no later. Then obviously I send out emails once in a while. You're welcome to reach out to me. You're welcome to respond to me. There's no barrier between me and you. And so you're absolutely welcome to reach out and communicate at any point in time if you'd like. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
Oh, that's your voice.